Place to be Nation Wrestling. Welcome to episode number 45 of NWA Crock and Roll. I am your host, Sean Kidd, and we have finally, after months and months and months of waiting, we have finally made it to May of 1986. So we are going to talk about some things that happened from May 3rd through May 17th today on this podcast. But before I jump right into it, I would like to welcome my co-host. And first, I would like to welcome back after a month off. And by the way, we have everybody here tonight for the first time, I think, in like 6 months. So Colin McDougall, welcome. We missed you last month.
Good evening. I felt like I was there when I was editing the pod. Some very choice opinions. Not all correct. I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Doesn't mean they're always right. One in particular sticks out. But I think I may or may not bring it up at some point, or if it's brought up, then I might have to say some choice words about it. But it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have you. And I might bring that up before we start with our actual episode tonight, because I want to get your opinion on that hot take. So I'll get to that in a minute. And it's probably one hot take from this gentleman, Scott Shiflett. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Ready to talk about May of '86. We got the four of us back together quicker than Ole's still gone from the Horsemen. So I feel pretty good that us four were able to get together before Ole came back.
Well, in all fairness, the timeline is a little different in this pod versus that. So, but all right. And last but not least, Dr. G, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. And, that's funny, Scott, that you say that about Ole, because I don't remember him, not being around this long when I was younger, when the whole thing happened. It seemed like, it was a shorter period of time. But again, maybe because we're going through these watches in a different way, maybe it just seems longer than it really is. But I'm looking forward to getting into May. I think things are starting to heat up, and as we head into the summertime, which I'm sure we'll be speaking about. And, I'm looking forward to breaking it down. I'm so glad everybody's back.
Yeah, me too. And so in our timeline right now, he has been gone exactly 4 months.
Okay, so it's longer than I thought, though.
Yeah. And by the time he comes back, it'll be 5. So he comes back in June, which we'll get to in 2030 or something like that. So, but anyway, it's good to have everybody back. And before we jump in, Colin, you actually missed our last episode where we kind of, or the last 2 episodes. So we finished up April and we set off a chain of events that kind of transitions into what we're going to talk about here tonight. But first and foremost, we did our last episode. We kind of did that kind of similar to what we did a couple of years ago, where, the Great Peacock thing went off and then we started watching matches of the past. And we started a new series to bridge these monthly watches where we went back and watched matches from certain years that Crockett wrestlers were in. So we watched 1985 before our timeline actually started. And by the way, guys, I don't know if you know this or not. We are officially 2 years as a pod, and we've made it through exactly 1 year of Crockett in 2 years. So I thought I'd probably mention that because I think this starts our second year tonight. So pretty cool thing to celebrate. But Colin, I got to ask you, so Scott Shiflett gave Magnum TA versus Wahoo McDaniel for the U.S. title in the cage match that took place exactly 1 week before our pod timeline started. He gave that match 4 stars. Would you like to comment on that real quick?
I mean, I was staggered when I heard that. I mean, it's not often I'm speechless, but that's outrageous. I mean, I don't care how good a mood you're in. I don't care what you've been smoking. There is no earthly reason to give a match involving Wahoo McDaniel. I can't even say his name. I'm that speechless. A rating that high.
You are just blinded by your hate. You just got to let go of it. And I was blown away by it.
I'm a very open-minded person. I gave a match that has 2.5 stars once. That's about as high as I'm going to get, and that was because of Harley Race. So I'm not. I don't see hate. I'm not a hateful person, although Wahoo McDaniel does push me quite close.
Imagine giving Harley Race 2.5 stars because of Wahoo being in the match. It's probably like a 3 or 4 star match.
I see it. No, it's not. I see it more that I gave a Wahoo McDaniel match 2.5 stars because of Harley Race. I choose to live my life glass half full, Sean.
I got it. And you know what, Colin, I agree with you on this one. I think I went I don't remember what it's 2 and 2.5, I think. And
like you were shockingly high as well at 2.5.
I didn't think it was a bad match. I think, for what it was in a cage and getting the title off of Yahoo, getting him off Wahoo so he could go away for a little while. I think that's a win.
That was all right. It was all right.
All right. And Scott, you're wrong. I'm sorry, buddy, but I agree with Colin. You're wrong. But it's okay. You like what you like.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, you guys are wrong, but it's fine.
All right. Well, we'll agree to disagree, and we're going to jump right into this. We're already starting off salty tonight. So we are going to May 3rd, 1986, and this is part 1 of our May watch. We actually have 4 parts of May. It gradually gets better as we get into June. We go down to 2 parts, and believe it or not, guys, July, I only have 1 episode for July because there's not a lot of promos coming up because July is hot bash month, so we got a lot of matches. So I think we'll actually make it through the bash before we get to the end of the year, which will be great. So so we'll start off with the roll call of champions. Your world champions, Ric Flair. U.S. champions, Magnum TA. Your tag team champions are Midnight Express. Your 6-man champions are still the Russians. Your Mid-Atlantic champion is the Missing in Action Black Bart. Your national champion is Tully Blanchard. Your junior heavyweight champion, also missing in action, Mr. Denny Brown. And your TV champion is Arn Anderson. So with that, are we ready to jump into May 3rd, 1986?
Yes.
All right. First up, we got a couple of matches. And this first one is a TV title match. We haven't really talked about Arn too much, or I don't think we've seen a real, proper TV match with him in a while, but it's Arn Anderson. And he's taking on a good hand, a Don Kernodle, which, as Dr. G would call him. And you know what's interesting about this, guys? This 5/3/86 match is exactly 1 year to the day of that Tully Blanchard Don Kernodle match for the TV title that shocked the shit out of us. Do you guys remember that, Colin and Dr. G?
I do.
Yep.
Yes.
So 1 year to the day. So we have Don Kernodle here taking on another Horseman. So Don, I thought, did some nice early arm work on Arn. He had a really nice, awesome back suplex. Arn then worked over Don's arm for a little bit. I also like the arm bar where Arn had it locked in at the same time. He had his knee buried into Don's head. Later, Don got his sleeper, and Arn barely made it to the rope. Don hits a nice vertical suplex, and Arn got an opening, pulling Don by the trunks through the ropes to the floor. Don kept trying to get in, but Arn blocked him several times, and then Don got back in, and he hit a neck breaker. And then he does a thing that he does throat first to the top rope. The credits start rolling. We get a small package for 2, and they went off the air with 10 seconds left. So my assumption was this went to a draw. I thought it was a solid syndicated show title defense by Arn against, like I said, good hand Kernodle. Again, we already talked about the timing of this one being 1 year exactly to the date of the Tully match we talked about. This match wasn't nearly as good as that Tully match. It wasn't terrible. I thought it was solid for a syndicated show title defense. I actually went 2 1/4 on this. Dr. G, I'll go to you first. What'd you think?
Well, we're starting to sync already. That's exactly what I did. I did 2 1/4. Not as exciting as that match, definitely. But again, 2 guys that could go at it, and anytime you get to watch Arn. I hated on television when they did that, when they ended the show without knowing what happened. They used to drive me crazy. They used to do that in Championship Wrestling from Florida a lot too, when they had a big main event. So that was kind of a little disappointing, but nothing awful about the match. Just a standard good TV match. You were excited to see a match like that on television rather than just the squash match. And I just love when Arn defended the title like that. They always made his defenses mean something, and always, no matter who he wrestled, always, gave you that illusion that possibly he could lose the match. But he always pulled it out in the end. That's one thing I noticed they always did with Arn Anderson. He always did a great job with it. So 2 1/4.
All right. Yeah, and you're right. And it gets worse as we get into the next. Well, we still got a few years left on this podcast, but this is a real bad habit they have of going off the air. And this one, you could kind of assume what happened because it only had 10 seconds left. But then you get into matches that are 20 minutes in, and it's got another 10, and they go off the air, and then they don't follow up the next week and even tell you who the hell won. So that'll get annoying as we go on in this show in our future years. But it's kind of a good tagline. But you think they would hook you to come back to see what happened the following week, and they never really, embellished on that, unfortunately. Colin, what did you think of this match?
I thought it was the same as you guys. I thought it was very, very solid. A solid TV match. My first note was about the Tully match. I didn't know it was a year to the day, but my first note was about the Tully match, and I did like that the commentators kept they kept bringing it up as well, how he almost won the TV title against Tully that time last year. And it was a bit, the match itself was a bit like the Tully match. It was, Kernodle had a lot of the match, and Arn was just bumping around for him, which I thought was, again, it was on par with the Tully match. The crowd went absolutely nuclear for a sleeper hold. So there you go. If you've got it on your bingo cards at home, mentioning the hot mid-Atlantic crowd. And I liked the way that Arn just sold it, that he didn't get to the rope, he didn't struggle to the rope, he just sort of flopped onto the rope. He was in the point, it was in the sort of, it was passing out possibly, he just sort of just fell into the ropes with a jaw. He's not just grabbing the rope for effect. It is like, I would have lost this match if the rope wasn't there. I didn't mind so much the TV time limit, but again, if it's going to happen a lot, and I watch a lot back to back, you could be getting a hot take just like the Ric Flair promos if you watch a lot of them back to back at the same time. It might get old quick, but I gave this 2 stars. I thought it was perfectly acceptable.
All right, we're kind of on par, 2 2.25, and Scott, bring us home on this match. What'd you think?
Here comes your 5 stars.
Well, if it had Drew, it would be a dud, but that's neither here nor there.
All right.
You know where you can get to. You know where you can get to, right?
Behave yourself, Shiflett. This is the quote serious podcast.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry. I enjoyed Kernodle actually working the arm. It was unexpected, and then Arn was working it and he was just retching the arm, which I really liked. And I loved when time was running down, Arn just throws Don out of the ring, which is great because he's just going to milk the clock. Like you guys said, I wasn't a fan of the show going off the air, but I've read and heard that the reason why they did that is, like, if you want to see what happens, you got to come to the shows live, which this is when they were still a house show business and not like a TV show business model, which we actually see now with AEW and WWE to an extent. I know they still do some house shows, but that was more like, if you want to see who wins, you got to, come to Greensboro this Saturday and
watch the actual time limit draw on a double DQ instead of watching it on TV, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it's with the whole. I know you guys saw the Kernodle match with Tully, like you specified about, but I've been pretty impressed just about every time we've seen him, because there's been other matches where we've seen him.
Yeah, Kernodle to me is a lot like Sam Houston. If I watch a match with him, I know I'm going to have a decent to pretty good match, and that's why I do like him a lot, actually. So
yeah, and I actually went 2.25 as well on this, so like we're all lockstep there. I did have 3 stars, but knocked it down. I'm kidding. I had 2.25 the whole time. But no, it's a really good match and a nice kickoff for this week's shows.
All right. So that's. Oh, were you gonna say something? Someone else gonna say something?
No, that was me. Sorry.
All right. So let's move on to the next match, which I'm hoping we all agree on too, because this one is like a Sean Paradise match for him, because it's for the national title. It is from Worldwide Wrestling the same week as the last match that was on Mid-Atlantic, that same exact weekend. And it is Ronnie Garvin versus Tully Blanchard. And it's one of those episodes that takes up the whole episode. It's a lot like that Rock and Roll Express Koloff's match that we watched a while ago, where the whole show was just about that match, and the Rock and Roll Express actually won the title. So really big time feel. They have that opening that's focused on the national title, and this feud has been building over time, which, again, to put this on syndicated TV is amazing. Flair's there. He sells the match backstage with Johnny Weaver, and he talks smack about Ricky Morton. That's why he does it. Then Dusty comes out, and David says that he's going to join him and Tony on commentary. They recap, and they discuss the Midnight Express Baby Doll happenings from last week of April. And then we finally get to the match and intros at about the 13-minute mark. And, oh joy, Tommy Young is your ref, so I wonder how this one's going to go. I'm not going to go line by line on this match. I just want to hit a few bullet points. I thought the intensity for both was absolutely amazing. Garvin was always always stiff and crisp in the ring, dominating Tully early at every turn with his headbutts and his stomps. But I also thought Tully in return looked really great with some of his forearms and heel work. The crowd was absolutely molten hot for this. There was a spot where Garvin actually leaped over the second rope and jumped over Tully and backslide pin attempt, which I thought was really good. I also thought Garvin throughout the match actually did a really good job of selling his hand injury. As we go on through the match, we get to a point where Ron reverses a pile driver and punches Tully in the head, and he sits on him. And then as the match continued to go on, both men were exhausted after basically giving their all. At one point, Tully got JJ's shoe as JJ's distracted. Idiot Tommy Young is distracted with JJ, and basically Garvin gets hit with the shoe. Garvin then accidentally throws Tully into Tommy, who shockingly goes down, then knocks Tully down with a headbutt. Dusty gets up for commentary and wraps Garvin's hand with tape as JJ puts quarters in Tully's hand. Both men get up. Garvin slugs Tully first. There's a cover and a 3 count. Crowd goes in commentary. David Crockett goes absolutely bonkers. Garvin is given the belt, but JJ points out the taped hand, and the decision is reversed. As David just screams at the top of the lungs, he had the quarters. Tully is still the champ. Fuck Tommy Young. Crockett is fucking livid, and I love JJ trying to pick up the quarters as that everything went on. Guys, I loved every minute of this match. The ending, as much as it pissed me off, I thought was well done, at least from a Dusty type finish. I really liked the combo of the tape and the quarters. I thought that was really well done. Great storytelling. And actually, for me, it was a damn near perfect match that was on free syndicated TV. I went 4 stars, maybe more, but I absolutely love this match. Colin, what'd you think of this?
I will just right off the bat say that you are 100% completely right about this one. I have gone 4 stars on it as well. My first note is this should be a banger. It delivered. 100% delivered. Very, very intense start, which I did like. And David Crockett was stroking out almost immediately. The stroke out at the end was possibly it's the GOAT. It's so far it's the GOAT. This is better than She Likes It. He had the quarters. He was going insane. This is the best. If this is going to take a lot to top this stroke out moment. Right. I absolutely loved the through story throughout the whole match was Garvin obviously can't tape up the hand, but he's using it very, very sporadically. But he's using the rest of his body as a weapon. Like it's all headbutts, it's grinding down. It is superb. And then the selling of the hand when he does use it, and he only uses it when he has to use it, was great. I loved the finish. The visual of the quarters flying out of Tully's hand was excellent. The pop was again unreal. It was just wonderful. And to think you got that on free television, even now when you get big matches matches between named people every week, you don't ever get anything as high quality as this. This was superb.
Yep. Back in the day, you didn't get matches like this. You kind of always got the not on syndicated TV. I mean, again, how long? It was July of '85 when we got that whole episode for the tag team titles. And so it's been a while. So when you get a big match like this in this era of TV, and you see mostly preliminary matches or good hand matches, something like this just is crazy, crazy good. Scott, what'd you think of this one?
As you guys were saying, it was a great match. I will say I did like Tully's selling of the knee and how Garvin just continued to work it. Also, Sean, you didn't mention on this, we actually got a Circuit City ad here.
I kind of skipped the ad, sorry.
Which popped me as just seeing an old school Circuit City ad, which is basically, for those who don't know, Circuit City was like Best Buy, and they went out of business in the mid 2000s. But as you said, Garvin's pin where he sits on him is just so disrespectful. I kind of like that. I love the use of the shoe, and then Tully working the hand because Garvin couldn't have it taped, so he lost his special move essentially. So he lost that. I was really digging the match. I bit on the new champ, and then I have in my notes here, and I messaged you guys, fucking Dusty finish. They had a hot moment there, but And I think this might, like, we've seen some dusty finishes, but I know, like, they're called dusty finishes for a reason, and we're going to probably start seeing a whole lot more of these as time goes on. And this is just frustration because it just cuts Garvin out at his knees with this, like, nonsense. And it makes Dusty look like a fool as well because they both knew it was illegal, and there they are, the supposed baby faces are stooping to the heels level. And it doesn't work on a casual fan watching thing. It doesn't work as a quote unquote smart fans watching. And I had this match at like 4.5, 4 3/4, but because of the ending and how much it pissed me off so much that I stopped doing my watch for the day. I came back the next day. That's how much it pissed me off. This match from May of 1986, and here we are when I watched was in June 2022. And it pissed me off so much. I went 4 stars, but it's like a begrudging 4 stars because everything was great, but that last 30 seconds just killed the match. Yeah, like if that happened now, Sean, like the group chat that we have, Twitter would just be in an uproar if that happened.
I get it, but from a creative standpoint, the simultaneous taped hands, the quarters, and David Crockett stroke out, and then JJ trying to collect I don't know. It's a shit take. I'm totally forgiving this one because I thought it was pretty fucking creative and probably the most creative one we'll see. That's just me. Dr. G, what did you think of this match?
Well, I'm gonna go. I'll tell you what my rating is. 4 stars. I think we're all agreement on that. Now, Scott, I agree with you. And the thing is, I guess maybe because we're so conditioned, Sean, you and I, from watching these dusty finishes, maybe we're just kind of used to it. Yeah. I could see where you could get upset by it, but the David Crockett stroke out moment, I mean, I think we already know what our winner of that award is. So I don't even think we need to even go through that because that's pretty much going to be the winner. But that was awesome. The thing is, I thought with that finish, yeah, I mean, it just pisses you off because you're like, come on, he couldn't have his hand taped, and of course they saw it. And just like you, because I couldn't remember myself from that time. I'm like, I thought he won the belt, and then he just kind of disappointed. But I will tell you this: the crowd, freaking off, they're just going crazy for this match. I mean, a lot of these matches we're going to talk about tonight, the crowd is just so into it, and it really between that and the announcing really helps you enjoy it. I know that Crockett gets a lot of criticism. I kind of, I don't know, maybe just a guilty pleasure. I kind of enjoy him. Mm-hmm. I think people just take things too seriously sometimes, Not everybody's going to be Jim Ross or Gordon Soley or whoever they like. Sometimes you need that wacky announcer. That's what people loved about Jerry Lawler. I mean, in a different aspect. So I think that just really helped me get into the match. I'm so glad this was a match that was on television where we did have the announcing, because I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much, because I thought that added, it told the story, and with him stroking out, and yes, Scott, I agree with you. The dusty finish does get kind of disappointing, and like I said, maybe because Sean and I are kind of used to this, so it probably we're just kind of numb to it at this point. But I agree with you, Sean, in the fact that they did do a pretty good job, the way they handled it. And again, I think it's because of the announcing. I think if it was one of those house shows that you would get the matches from, and we just saw it like that, we probably would be very disappointing, and mm-hmm. It wouldn't have filled in the picture. And that's why announcing is so important to wrestling. I don't think people realize that. I mean, obviously when you go live, you don't get announcing, but that's a different feel because you have the buzz of the crowd, and there's just a different aspect to it. But I just wanted to make a point of, as I thought that the announcing definitely helped make this match. Probably because of the ending, I agree. I probably would have went 4.5 stars, but other than that, I really enjoyed the match.
Yeah, and I knocked it down because of the ending too. That's why I went 4. But I mean, this could have easily been, to your Scott's point, if it had like a clean finish, could have easily been a 4.5. Probably maybe one of the best matches we've ever watched in the history of this show, honestly. But go ahead, Scott.
And like Dr. G, like if there would have just been like Tully hits him with the fistful of quarters, I would have liked that better, because then it would have been like, well, we would have been thinking Garvin would have had him if he wouldn't have cheated. But if they both cheated, it negates it. and it's just a crappy like flip flop.
Hey, Schiff, when we go to Nashville, can I hit you with a fistful of quarters when we go to the Flair show? I mean,
we were doing chair shots last time, so sure.
Right. So I'm gonna add fistful of quarters to the docket for that trip. All right. But no, really, really good match. Great stuff. Go out of your way if you've never seen this match. Go out of your way. It's on YouTube. I don't know, man. This is up there. It's easily in the top 2 or 3 matches we've watched on this show in the last 2 years. So amazing match. All right. So we are now going to jump to the Saturday night show this same weekend for May 3rd. And we are going to kick it off right off the bat with Jim Crockett, who comes out with Tony. There's no David Crockett tonight, so maybe he's convalescing from the big stroke out he had on that last match. Crockett announces that TA and Dusty have challenged the Midnight Express for the tag team titles on TV, but Cornette has refused to sign the contract. Second up, they announced the Rock and Roll Super Sizzler Tour to coincide with Ricky's new single and hopefully his new album. And to me, it basically sounds like Rock and Roll Express are going on a ring rap marathon. So anybody have any comments on the Super Sizzler Tour or anything? Anything on that before we move on?
I need to hear if it was actually Morton singing. But like you said, it definitely sounds like they're just going to be picking up rats.
Yep. Colin, Dr. G, anything you'd like to add to the Super Sizzler Tour?
I agree with what Scott said.
All right.
Yeah, Colin? I want to hear. Unfortunately, the album didn't come out, but I apparently Ricky Morton's Boogie Woogie Dance Hall did come out, and I really want to hear that song. I'm so disappointed. I wish that if they were a year earlier, they could have played Live Aid, and that really disappoints me that they couldn't play Live Aid. I mean, could you imagine? We couldn't get the Beatles. Bob Geldof up. We couldn't get the Beatles, but we're going to get.
Could you imagine the Rock and Roll Express at Live Aid? Like, where do you even go? I can think about that.
Somewhere in between Phil Collins and David Bowie, I imagine would probably be a good one. Maybe just after Queen. Queen could be the warm up to the Rock and Roll Express. Obviously, they would have needed to have redone We Are the World to shoehorn Ricky Morton.
Ricky Morton, take Bruce Springsteen out, put Ricky Morton in right into that spot.
I mean, there must be somebody that you could take out.
Awesome. Hey, by the way, because you said you have to see Ricky Morton sing, I want you to go on to I want you to run a search for Ricky Morton's song on your Google or whatever you got, and Ricky Morton in concert. An 8-minute video of him in concert comes right up for you. So, Colin, feel free to check that out whenever you would like.
Yes, but I'm looking at the people that were on We Are the World just now. There's too many Jacksons on here. First of all, get one of them out. We don't need the news. Huey Lewis is fine. Get the news out of there. Lindsey Buckingham, he's British. Get him out there.
How about Oates? Oates doesn't. It could be Holland Morton. They don't need the Oates. Oates can go away.
I mean, I don't understand why you need half these people. Like Michael Jackson is fine. Jackie, LaToya, Marlon, Randy, Tito, get out. Right? No idea. We don't need all 3 of the Pointer Sisters. One of them would do.
Who needs Dan Aykroyd in the video? Why is Dan Aykroyd on that song? All right, we gotta stop. I'll go down a whole rabbit hole. Thank you for that moment, though, Colin. Now I'm going to be thinking about Ricky Morton singing We Are the World. So, all right, moving on. So after that, so basically the rest of this show, it really is just highlighting the Baby Doll, Jim Cornette, and Midnight Express stuff from last episode. So next thing we have, I'm going to do these next 2 promos before we go into the match that we'll talk about. So Baby Doll comes out with Tony. She's dressed very un-Baby Doll-like in a white dress. Thanks everyone for the flowers, says her townhouse is full. Talks about her history with Tully and doing bad things and how Dusty saved her. He's a knight in shining armor after everything she did to him. Basically, excuse me, Dr. G, I apologize, cover yours. Basically, what she does here is give Dusty a verbal BJ. That's really what she does. She wants to spend her life being someone people can look up to. She wants to be good. She thanks Dusty and then tells Cornette she didn't think she'd walk again. And he's hurt her and Dusty, says her boys will get Cornette. Followed up by a Cornette promo where he comes out. Tony says you are vetoing the contracts now, referring back to the beginning of our show where basically Crockett came out and said that Cornette would not allow Dusty and Magnum to get a title shot. Cornette says he saw Baby Doll out here. Her tale of sorrow and woe will bring a tear to a glass eye. Says she's upset her injury kept her from running to the Kentucky Derby. He brings up Crockett coming out at start about a contract versus America's team. Cornette says they are a big team in beer joints, but they haven't beat no one or proven they should be in the ring with the tag team champions. Cornette brings up all the jobber teams the Midnight Express tune up with, like the Mulkeys. Today they have the Janes boys, and he tells America's team to go beat someone. Maybe then they could get a title shot. Right now you're not worthy. And then he goes into the intro for Bobby and Dennis. So before we get to the match with the Janes boys, Scott Shiflett, what did you think of the Baby Doll promo and Jim Cornette? And if I recall in the chat, Shiflett, you actually brought up that you found Baby Doll somewhat, well, I won't say what exactly you said, but somewhat beautiful, to be politically correct.
Yeah, she looked attractive for the first time. I think it was that white dress she was wearing. But yeah, like you said, it was a verbal BJ to Dusty, saying like how he's a knight in shining armor, and saying how like a real champion are loners, and like he was a loner, and she wants to be good, and like, you know, says her boys will get Cornette. I liked because it seemed like they were maybe going back to the Tully feud, but I like how she turned that into like the Cornette feud, which, to be honest, this was a surprising feud. Like, you guys may know this. My NWA JCP WCW stuff doesn't really start kicking into the 1990, but it was nice to see like she was actually a pretty good promo there. Like, you know, Tony led her a little bit, but like, you know, saying she's gonna get Cornette, and then Cornette's just amazing. The Kentucky Derby line, like, I was laughing. I had to pause it, and I was like, oh my god, like, talk about stuff you couldn't get away with now. And I love how like this is actually elevating the Midnight Express. I know tag team wrestling was big in JCP and NWA, so like, you know, this, like, it doesn't feel like, you know, WWE or WWF where like you have the New Age Outlaws going against like Rock and Sock Connection. It felt like Rock and Mick Foley were like, you know, slumming it in the tag team scene with, you know, the New Age Outlaws. With this, it feels like a legit thing. Like, you don't know which side's going to win, if it's going to be, you know, Dusty and TA or the Midnight Express, because it can go either way. Like, I like how that it shows they're on an even playing field.
Yeah, you know, and the Midnight Express, I mean, I think we talked about it, hadn't really done much up until this point. They've been champions since February. So, yeah, this has definitely put them in the limelight, too. So it was really good to see that kicked off. And, yeah, the Kentucky Derby line probably wouldn't hold up. And I'm with you. I thought Baby Doll I guess what they were trying to do is get the people to relate to her and what happened. And you could tell she was a little bit nervous in that promo. But I think overall she did a pretty good job. Dr. G, what did you think of these two promos?
I thought she did a pretty good job considering the amount of time they gave her. It was a couple of minutes, I believe, you know, which could be like an eternity when you're doing something like that. So, yeah, she seemed a little nervous at first, but once she got comfortable, then she started really getting into it. Yeah, you're right. She was basically, you know, putting over Dusty throughout the whole promo.
I like that you put it much better than we did. Thank you for that. Reel that sucker back in. Thank you.
But no, she did now you started to see a little bit more of her rather than, you know, usually, you know, Dusty or somebody's always near her, and so she'd only get like a few words in. So she was able to really show her, you know, kind of let her show off her mic skills a little bit, which again were a little shaky at first, but I think again once she started getting comfortable and she knew what she wanted to say, she did a pretty good job. Cornette, I mean, what could you say about Cornette? It's amazing. That guy is so hyper. I don't know what the heck he was drinking, how much coffee he drinks a day or whatever it is, because he was just always on fire, always on point. And the Kentucky Derby one, I agree. I was hysterical laughing. I'm like, probably wouldn't go over too well today, but you know, when I watch these things, I take it in the context of the times that it was in. So, no, I mean, it's just the way he sets everything up, the way he sells the Midnight Express. Again, Midnight Express was a good tag team. You know, Bob Eaton could go with anybody, but if they didn't have Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express never would be what they were.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Callum, what'd you think of this? Did you miss the whole last episode where we went through this whole ordeal with Baby Doll and the Midnight Express? So feel free to embellish as you want in this.
Well, I did one of the first things I've got. You say that Dr. G brought the tone back up, brought a bit of decorum to the proceedings. I'm going to take it right back into the gutter. Baby Doll, how I ended up. Everyone wants to know how I ended up with Dusty. How did I end up with Dusty? Because he didn't want you to be fucking Sam Houston anymore.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Allegedly. The Baby Doll part didn't seem to be going anywhere, but it did turn out to be, towards the end, it did turn out to be a half decent promo. The Kentucky Derby line was fucking brutal. I mean, that was so.
You know what I love about it, this column, is the fact that she can't. This is probably the most like dolled up, beautiful Baby Doll we've seen. He just comes out and calls her a horse.
I know. I mean, you've got one hand, you've got Shift saying that she's mildly fuckable, and then you've got Cornette calling her fucking Seabiscuit. So again, one of the things that I've liked about Cornette is he tells the truth. America's team haven't teamed much recently. They didn't really team much more. They didn't really team a lot to begin with. So why should they be top? Why should they be top contenders for the World Tag Team Championships? He's making a very good point there. The whole bit where Tony is. I don't know how Tony Schiavone kept a straight face. Honestly, he's just playing along with the joke. It was excellent. I thought the commentary. I mean, it made the whole thing just perfect. They play off each other so well. Tony is the consummate professional. So I thought that the Cornette was just fantastic.
Okay. So let's talk about the match. So Midnight Express versus the James Boy. So if you watch this in its timeline, you say, oh, he's going to take on the James Boy. It's going to be like the Mulkeys or whatever. So the Midnight Express, Cornette, they're waiting in the ring for the James Boys. Midnight Rider starts playing and immediately, shit's about the fan because you know what that typically means. So he starts playing. The crowd went nuts. As it's apparent, it's Dusty and TA in black masks and cowboy hats and jeans and black trench coats. Cornette freaks out like, unbelievable, just does an amazing job here and says, don't ring that bell. His stroking out is on par with David Crockett. It's phenomenal. There's a big brawl on the floor. Dusty James high fives Tony. He's beating up Bobby, which I thought was hilarious. Cornette is screaming, you have to be an idiot not to know who they are, and screams for Jim Crockett to come out. Tony's just poking the bear is awesome as well with Cornette. Connery getting beat up by T.A. James, and he's yelling to Cornette as he is. You know who this is? James Boys take turns in and out, beating up the Express. The Express finally gets some offense on TA. Cornette yells at Tony, I don't care if my mom likes you. I hate you. All four end up in the ring, and the James Boys hit double belly to bellies for the three. The crowd goes absolutely bonkers. Baby Doll comes out, goes to Cornette with a bull rope, and he and the Express run to the back. I thought this was a really great angle. I thought it was a fun match. Totally unexpected because I didn't see this going the route it did. But I guess it piggies back on Cornette refusing to sign a match with these guys. And it just keeps the angle going now with like a really cool added twist. And again, I'm going to go through all this and I'll ask your thoughts about the match and the promos. After the match, the James Boys have an interview. Dusty is obviously who it is, says they have been trying to come here for a long time. He says this charade ain't going to last too much longer. So Dusty kind of doing a wink there. Cornette then comes out later, asks if everyone thinks he's an idiot or a fool. He keeps asking for Jim Crockett to come out and reverse the match right now. Says he's not leaving until Crockett comes out. After numerous segments and much griping about the situation, continues his rant about how he could buy this place, and he's a very important man. He wants America's team suspended, and he wants some oxygen. Tells Tony he can slap him over the whole situation. Crockett comes out, and Cornette yells, where have you been? And Crockett says he's been getting a manicure. Do you mind? Which popped me too. Cornette vents some more. Crockett says he saw the James Boys beat the Midnight Express here on TV. You got a problem with that? It's your problem. And then he walks off as Cornette flips out. And to wrap this segment up, Dusty and TA come out later with Tony. Says it was great to see Baby Doll and Cornette is irate at you two. Tony says it was great to see Baby Doll and Cornette is irate with two of you. Dusty says he's not interested in Cornette and the Midnight Express, and he just got here. He then talks Baby Doll up, says she's 3 times the lady, says the Midnight Express will learn what it's like to face America's team. TA says revenge is sweet and also calls out Nikita. Dusty asks Tony, he asked Tony, the James Boy from wherever they came from and pinned the Midnight Express. Tony says, yes, they did. And Dusty says, that's awesome, and walks out. So the match and then the promos after. What did you think of that? Colin, I'll go to you.
I thought my first thought was when the James gang, whatever they're called, the Jamesies, came out. I thought my first initial thought was these guys have a fucking incredible look with the trench coats and the masks and the hat. Oh my god, it looks absolutely superb. Then the penny dropped, and I thought that's fucking Magnum and Tully. Magnum and Dusty, like that is brilliant. But it didn't. The look just took me right in. It was excellent. I've got the I've don't get many notes on the match, but I've got I put 2.5 stars anyway, because I thought the whole package was well executed. It was great. Cornette after is just he's blown a gasket. He's on top form. And I made a note that he's again, I'm seemingly obsessed with people's ages on this podcast. Jim Cornette at this point is 24 years of age.
Insane, absolutely insane.
I don't even know what I was doing at 24. I shudder to think what I was doing at 24. But that is how he is so good at this point is unbelievable. And he's just on the top of his game. America's team promo, there wasn't. I've got that there wasn't much to it, but it really paled in comparison compared to what we saw from Cornette and all the promos before that. So yeah, outstanding from everybody involved.
All right, so you went 2.5. I actually went with the match and the promos and all encompassing of the story. I went 3 stars, but I think you're right. The match itself, not much to take notes on, but it was just more of an angle. But the whole thing in general, I just went 3 stars in it. Dr. G, are you back?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry about that.
Yep, go ahead.
So I went 2 3/4 stars on it, and I like the whole package. I don't remember this. I don't remember this storyline. I really don't. I'm usually pretty good about memorizing stuff from that time period. I do not remember this with the James gang and all that. I really don't. So it was actually kind of neat to see it, because to me it was like seeing it for the first time. Dusty did a lot of that stuff, obviously, the Midnight Rider stuff. So I just, but this one, the Midnight Rider, he was actually trying to hide the fact that he was Dusty here. It was kind of like, wink, wink. Yeah, we know what's going on. And Cornette was just phenomenal. I mean, he made this whole angle because he just lost it. And wow, putting in perspective that he was 24 years old. I knew he was young, but I didn't realize he was that young. So just amazing work by Cornette. Amazing what he did like I said, what he did for that team. And the fact that Dusty and, TA doing their thing when they came out for their interview, they kind of having a little fun with it, but Cornette just blew them away in terms of the way he was on the stick for this. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really well done angle, not like the best thing we've seen in terms of an angle, but I thought they executed it pretty well, and just seeing Cornette's reaction was worth it.
Yeah, and what's funny is they have a lot of angles going on. You got Morton and Flair, you got the Koloffs and the Road Warriors, you got Koloff versus TA and Tully, and what's great is all the angles are different. They all have something different about them that make them really interesting on different levels, and I love that. That's what's really cool about this, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm with Colin. The freaking trench coats, cowboy hat, banger. I'm Scott Shiflett. I might be going to Nashville with that look when I hit you with a roll of quarters. So what did you think of this?
Oh my God, I love this. This was amazing. Like, I thought the James gang was like a bunch of jobbers, because I was thinking of the TNA James gang that they had a couple years later. I loved it. The double belly to belly was sweet. The James gang actually winning, I thought we were going to get a DQ just from what we've already seen this month. The angle, I love Baby Doll chase him out, and I have here Dusty James saying he wanted to come to NWA for a while. It's so many like you said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Then Cornette like tearing up the match sheet says all the idiots knew it was TA and Dusty, so he calls out Crockett to reverse the decision, and then he tells Tony he can buy and sell Tony 47.5 times. I don't know why the half's there, but I laughed so hard at that. I just love how like Crockett then asks Cornette if he has a problem, and Crockett's like, I don't see what the big deal is. And
Crockett getting a goddamn manicure, like what? That was phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah, and it was like, oh my god, what it's just great. And I just loved it. Like I went 3 stars, but I just counted like the angle of like the TA and then being the James King and like with the match, because the match really wasn't much. It was just I just went 3 stars like with all that. But like this is just like a perfect, like it felt like a bottle episode of an angle. You know what I'm saying? Like how you get bottle episodes in TV shows. This is what it felt like, and I hope we see more of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, all this happened on Saturday night. All we talked about was Crockett. We talked about Baby Doll, Cornette. I mean, that's all we really talked about. So really, this is one of those examples of, man, how great was this? Like, just played this angle out through the entire episode, and they just amazing work there. So yeah, definitely this Midnight Express, America's Team, James Gang, whatever you want to call it, feud is definitely heating up, and there's a lot more to come in this as we get into the future. So, all right, so that ends Saturday night. So now we are still on May 3rd. We are actually going to a Greensboro house show, one of those great house show matches that Dr. G doesn't like when there's no commentary, but we're going to talk about it. It's Ric Flair defending the World Heavyweight title against Ricky Morton. The crowd, as always, is absolutely out of their mind for Morton. Flair does the face rub into the mat by Morton, which got them going pretty early. Flair, I thought, hit some sick-looking chops on Morton that I thought really looked intense due to Morton's size, and Morton just sold him like murder. Flair straight up just playing the bully as Morton just fires back at him with punches. There is a long rest head spot that Flair tried to escape on an atomic drop to the knee that Morton shook off. Flair's going to rub Morton's injured face across the ropes, but Morton just pummels Flair with rapid-fire punches to avoid it. Morton pretty much dominates the first 20 minutes of this match for the most part, and then Flair finally gets some control, and he finally succeeds at raking Morton's injured face across the ropes continuously, and then he rubs Morton's face into the post. I thought this was smart heel work by Flair, focusing on the face. Later in the match, Flair hit tosses Morton clear across the ring, but Morton rebounds with a clothesline out of the corner. Morton takes control, gets a quick small package for a very close 3. Flair's ass is showing as Morton tries to pull him down for a sunset flip. Tommy Young actually pulls the trunks up for him, as his ass wasn't the only thing about the show, because it was really to the point where it was almost down to the knees and you're about to see something else, which was pretty crazy. Morton does a top rope drop kick for 2, got the whole crowd standing up. Morton goes for a roll-up on a suplex reversal for another 2. Morton hits a corner hurricanrana for another 2 as bell rings for the draw. This was awesome and quite the gem to find. It's clipped and cut in so many spots were choppy, but I thought it was great stuff between these two. And Dr. G, this would be one of those prime examples of if they had commentary to go with this match, easily probably over 4 stars. But in that, I went 3.5 stars on this. So Dr. G, what did you think?
I did too. I went 3.5 as well. Yeah, you're right. If we the announcer, and listen, it's great that you're able to find this stuff. So it's please don't take it as a critique.
No, I get it 100% though, because this could take 3.5 star match up to 4 because of the energy behind the commentary. It makes sense.
Exactly, but for what it was in terms of the video and audio quality, I enjoyed it. These guys really had some chemistry, I'll tell you. And you hear interviews with Rick Morton today. They would have given him a shot at the title. Maybe it would have been a short reign, but I think they would have given. And he didn't. He was very loyal to his partner. And he said no. And Flair would have done it no problem. Flair loves Ricky Morton. Mm-hmm. I mean, one of his most favorite opponents. He says even till this day. So. I just love the way Ricky Morton sells. I mean, he is great at that. I mean, he really saw those chops were, woo, I'll tell you, Ricky Morton was definitely feeling it the next day. I'll tell you that. Yep. But the crowd energy is just phenomenal. That's my I put that in big bold letters in my notes. Crowd is hot. And
they are.
I mean, They were just off the roof. So, again, you add some announcing to that. That could have been a 4-star match, easy, maybe 4.5 stars. Again, I think 3.5 stars is nice from, a good rating. I mean, to me, anything 3 and above, you're really, you're in good territory right there. So I love watching these two guys go at it. I forget how good of matches these two had. Different kind of chemistry than he and Ricky Steamboat, but I feel, even though I think Ricky Steamboat some of the matches might have been a little better, I like the energy better with Ricky Morton and Ric Flair, because I think Ricky Morton, just because of the Rock and Roll Express at that time, was probably more over.
Yeah, I'll reserve my comment on Ricky Steamboat, the dull pain in the ass that he is. He's a good wrestler, but to your point, I prefer watching a Morton Flair match because of the energy around Morton and the crowd. You don't ever see a crowd get hot for Steamboat like that ever. So,
no, I mean, I think
opinion.
People love Ricky Steamboat. Don't get me wrong, but not that. I mean, the Rock and Roll Express there for a couple of years, they were one of the hottest tickets in wrestling. So, and I think at this time, this is one of the times where they were one of the hottest tickets in wrestling. So, like I said, I think if Ricky Morton had said yes, I think he might have been a champion. It might have been a short run, but I think he would have been world champ. That's how
possible. Absolutely possible. Scott, what did you think of this?
I'm gonna be the high man, obviously, for this.
It's all good. It's all good.
I love this match. I loved, Morton's a house of fire. He's rubbing Flair's face in the mat, as revenge for him rubbing it on the floor. I loved how we still saw the quote unquote the scarring from Ricky Morton. I do say that Tommy Young is the worst. I just want to get that out of the way.
God, yes, he's so bad.
The crowd is losing their mind. They're living and dying on everything that Morton does. And Flair is just selling $1 million for him. I was shocked at how much Morton was in control, and I was shocked that we actually got a draw out of this. They were wanting to, and Morton actually hits a missile drop kick in this match, which I thought was amazing. And I thought that's where, if we were going to get a title change, it was going to be there. Morton also hit a Frankensteiner during this match.
He did. Yep.
Which I thought was amazing, because I had always, I guess this shows how good WCW was with that Scott Steiner brought it to America. I didn't realize that Ricky Morton was breaking one out in 1986. I went 4.5 right here.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's fine. I don't actually dispute that, because again, with the commentary, it would have been so much better. But yeah, this match was awesome. Just great from start to finish, and just the energy around Morton, Flair, and I love that Flair, because we've seen a lot of Flair be very redundant. It's kind of like Colin brought up a few episodes ago about his interviews. We've kind of seen Flair be redundant in kind of his match quality and what he does in matches. And I feel like with Morton, he just really changed it up a little bit. I thought he was absolutely vicious in this, just raking across the ropes. And he's just it's a sick, vicious Ric Flair, which he kind of upped his ante in that. Normally that's what you see the Andersons do. And I felt like Ric Flair here could have actually been an Anderson, because he was just a dick. Colin, what'd you think of this? Hopefully you liked it as much as we did.
You're also very easily impressed.
Yeah, that is true.
No, I've before I go on to my notes, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Sean. Flair seems refreshed because he's got somebody new to work with.
Yes.
And as great as he is, and as great as everyone, a lot of the guys that he's worked with are, everyone's got their own shtick, so it's very difficult, I imagine, to keep refreshing it night after night, and to the point where it must feel like you are just going through the motions. A lot of the time, if you've worked with the same guy over and over and over again, because as much as the matches haven't been bad, we did see, it seemed like we watched Flair and Garvin face off against each other at house shows for 4 months, and there must be a bit of come down for them at some point. But I thought this match was really good. I liked where Morton's selling her the shin drop after whilst he still had the headlock on. I thought was really good. I'm very easily impressed. It was just a nice wee touch there. I will. Oh no, I can't read that. Sorry, I can't read my own handwriting there. The first part of the match is making. Was really good at making you think that Morton could win the match. Again, referee gripe. I'm with Schiff on this one. There was a low blow. Flair hit Morton with a low blow, and the ref was looking right at it. Now that is, I don't care if you're pissed off with Ric Flair, that is a disqualification right there, then sir. Referee's discretion or not, that is blatant cheating. The match wasn't as quick as I thought it would be. I thought with Ricky Morton, and I thought it would be slightly faster paced, and I think we were spoiled by the sprint that they had on Saturday night, the couple of weeks before this. But there was a time where the crowd bit on it, and I almost bit on a small package that Morton had on, even though I should 30 odd years in the almost 40 years in the future. That can't be right. Yeah, almost 40 years in the future. No, didn't happen. I really liked the missile drop kick, but you knew that the crowd were getting right into it, because as soon as he hit that, the whole crowd stood up around the guy who had his videotape on. You couldn't actually see the referee count. I did really enjoy the match. It took a wee bit longer to build up than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be slightly more of a sprint than it actually was, but that didn't mean it was a bad match in any stretch of the imagination. I went 3.5 on it.
All right, so we're all around that same. Scott, you were the high one, but again, this is one of those matches where I won't give you shit for that. What I don't understand how you could even look at Wahoo versus TA in the realm of a match like this. I don't know. You were on something last episode. I don't know what you were doing. But yeah, really, really good match. So that actually closes out Crockett for May 3rd. So a lot of stuff that happened on May 3rd. A lot of stuff. So before we go, as always, we're going to do our territory spotlight segment here. So I went big digging in the vaults, and we are going to World Class Championship Wrestling. It is a match for the World Class Championship title. It is from the May 4th Parade of Champions. It is Bruiser Brody versus Rick Rude. So I think the only time we've seen Rick Rude, have we seen Rick Rude on this show yet? I'm trying to remember.
We saw him a couple of times in Florida.
Oh, that's right. So we have seen him, but never like Rude proper. It was just kind of a one-off situation. We'll see him again.
Yeah, it was very watered down. It was like baby ravishing Rick Rude, not quite ravishing yet Rick Rude.
Yes, and I think it was, in fact, I think it was Billy Jack and Wahoo versus him and the future Jimmy Jack Funk on an episode of Saturday Night. Wasn't that the match we watched?
There was that, and then I think he did have a match. He had a singles match with Billy Jack Haynes. Remember we did Battle of the Belts?
That is correct.
I'm sure he was in one of them.
All right, so basically it's our first look at Rude in 86. But again, we will see him much later this year because he will become a full-time fixture, but we'll talk about that when we get to that. The stipulation, if Rude gets DQ'd, he loses the belt. World Class had withdrew the NWA membership at this point on February 18th, 1986. The America's heavyweight title was immediately declared the world title, and Rick Rude was officially, I don't know if you guys knew that, Rick Rude was officially the first World Class Championship Wrestling wrestler to be the world champion, and he is managed by Percy Priggle. So pretty big deal here with Rick Rude that you probably don't hear much about. It was weird seeing Rude in just straight white long tights. It was pretty generic, so I'm not used to not seeing all the freaking things painted on his tights. They keep reiterating the DQ stip, which probably tells you what's going to end up, because probably in my mind I'm thinking Rude won't lose, so Brody probably will. Brody hit Rude with a body slam and a few boots to face, and Percy was quite vocal in his worry. Rude hit a hip toss, which looked impressive based on Brody's size, I thought. Rude with a boring headlock spot outside. Brody slams Rude to the wood floor. Rude throws Brody into the ring post. Brody no-sells Rude's punches and hits an impressive drop kick and suplex into a power slam for 2. Bruiser hits a leg drop to the back of Rude's head for another 2. Rude then blocks a suplex and hits one of his own. Again, based on the height and size dynamic, I thought that was pretty impressive by Rude for hitting that. Rude covers as Brody puts leg on the ropes, but Percy pushes it off. Brody kicks out at 2 anyway and then goes outside to chase after Percy. Percy runs into the ring, and Rude and Brody brawl as the ref tries to pull them apart. Brody throws Rude over the top rope, and then imagine that, we get a DQ. Rude and Percy leave the ring, but Brody chases him and kicks Percy in the ass, knocking him over, which I thought was funny. And Rude and Brody fight into the crowd as the grappler comes out too to help, and Rude escapes. Not much to this. I kind of expected more. I thought there was some good-looking stuff based on the side differences, but the ending was shit, and Brody seemed to be kind of going through the motions a little bit versus what I know he can actually do. So I was a little disappointed. I went a gentleman's 2 on this. Colin, what did you think?
I went a gentleman's 2 on it as well, purely for the for the nameplate Rick Rude World Heavyweight Champion.
There you go.
Something about that just seemed right. I know it was only a pretend world championship. At this point, world class wasn't what it used to be in 1986. But Rick Rude World Heavyweight Champion, it warmed my heart on that. Rude did looks amazing normally. I'm very comfortable in saying that Rick Rude is a very handsome man. I am a sucker for a good nickname, as you know. Soviet Union's Ambassador of Destruction, love that. The announcer, can't remember who it was now, but he called Rick Rude the man of a million muscles. I thought it's absolutely fantastic. Not many notes on the match, as you can tell. Not. I think
there's not much to it.
No, there's not much to the match. It was, yeah. I mean, it's fine. It was watchable. It wasn't an abomination as we have seen. So yeah, Gentleman's 2 was inoffensive.
Yeah, I will say though, if I were going to this stadium show and this was my world title main event, I'd probably leave a little pissed off. But again, because I didn't and I watched it on TV 40 years after the fact, I'm fine. Dr. G, what'd you think of this?
I don't know. I'm not.
I knew you weren't gonna like it. I knew the minute I saw it.
I went 1 3/4. First of all, Rude was still a little, I don't want to say green, but he wasn't. He became better obviously when he was in the WWE, or WWF at the time. Bruiser Brody. I mean, yes, I've seen some pretty good matches with him. Didn't get the allure of him. I know I'm going to take a lot of for that, and because of the way he passed away, and that's a shame and everything.
Doctor, I would tell you if you didn't hate those matches so much, go watch some of his Japan matches with Stan Hansen. You'd probably change your theory. You'd probably change your opinion, but I know you don't like Japan, so.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of his matches from Japan, but the thing is about him, it's like he was just one of those guys, and he was that attraction. But if he was not into it, which he seemed like he was totally going through the emotions with this. I don't know. I just thought it was crappy. I do remember Rick Rude becoming the first world champion there. But
it's awkward, right? He doesn't feel. Shit take, Colin, I apologize. He doesn't feel like a world champion to me here.
No, he doesn't. And the belt is still the America's belt, so they didn't even change the belt. It was kind of like an abrupt, I guess, change from, when they left the NWA. I don't know. There's not much to say about this match. I mean, maybe I'm just being even nice, even giving it the rating I'm giving it. I'm just not a big, there's certain guys that people get so into, and Bruiser Brody's one of them, that I never really totally cared for him. I don't know. He just doesn't do anything for me. Like, seeing a Bruiser Brody match does not get me excited. So that's how I feel with that. But, Rick Rude, obviously, I think if this was a feud, maybe 1988 or 89 might have been a better match. But right here, just nothing much to write home about. Maybe I'm being too critical, but that's just how I feel when it comes to Bruiser Brody.
Oh, wait. Oh, my God. So, Column, just throw into the group chat. This match got 3.5 stars from Meltzer, Dr. G.
Well, go figure. That's Dave Meltzer. Was he
What realm of anywhere was this a 3.5 star match?
I didn't know Chef wrote for the Observer back in the day.
You know what? I'm sorry, guys. That guy is a piece of crap. He really. I don't know what anybody thinks. They're so high and mighty on him. I used to remember, my friend of mine got the newsletter. I used to read it. All nothing but run-on sentences. Some of the stuff, it just sounds like he just made up. Which we could write about. I don't know. That is 3.5 stars for that. I mean, come on. He must be taking something.
Dr. G cutting a promo on Meltzer.
No, you know what? I'm tired. I really am. I know you guys don't really probably care for Pritchard, and I know Conrad likes him, but that goes figure. And some of the wrestlers that can't stand him, Cornette and all them, but they're totally right about him. He's nothing but a fraud, and he sucks all wrestling fans in with his BS. That's just my opinion.
Amazing.
Thank you. Now you want me to cut a promo? That ain't a good thing because
No, I'm good. No, I was fine. I wish you would cut promos on Trevor Murdoch like that on the Saturday special, but you don't. So, all right, Scott, what did you think of this? If it's 3.5, I'm gonna lose my shit.
Hell no, this match sucked.
Yes.
Like I will say that Bruiser Brody does have a presence about him. And like, there's a time where like we had a nice drop kick from Brody because a man of that height is pretty interesting. And also he had a nasty leg drop to Rude's shoulder. I guess that it looks like he's not as graceful. It like adds to like the barbaricism. And I will say that no one told me that Percy Pringle was doing his best Bobby the Brain cosplay because that's what he looked like out there.
Yes, he was.
And I wasn't really like blown away by Rude, to be completely honest. I know that'll be coming later with his Dangerous Alliance run and feud with Sting. That's where
no, Scott, do you not know what we have from Rude coming up in 86? Do you not know?
I know he was in a tag team and left
Crockett. Him and Manny Fernandez.
I look forward to that. Yes. And then we got the crappy Bruiser throwing Rude over the top rope for the DQ. Just a crap match. Like I said, a star and 3/4, and I thought I was being gracious with that when Callum gives 2 stars just because the chroma.
I gave it 2 stars too because it's kind of like what you said about Bruiser. Some of the stuff he did was good, and I thought Rude actually bustling some of the moves he did and suplexes and stuff like that were impressive because Brody just totally outsized them. So it definitely showed off Rude's strength. But I get the hatred. I don't disagree with anything anybody really said on this pod tonight, unlike the last show where you gave freaking Wahoo TA 4 stars. But
yeah, that match was a banger.
All right. Anyway.
That match was better than any TA Nikita match we've seen.
No, you're wrong. But anyway, I think
Sean, get ready to hand over the crown because I think Schiff is really making a play for the King of the Shit.
He really, really is. And by the way, it's interesting. It's with the same fucking wrestler that I got it for, so that's pretty funny. Anyway, all right. So that ends tonight's episode. So kind of a quick breezy watch here to talk about some good shit. So it continues pretty much the end of April into this is all one day though. It's crazy how much they pack into just one weekend of wrestling. All right, so we'll go to the awards. We'll probably knock these out pretty quick. The David Crockett Award, do we all agree with David Crockett's stroke out moment, or do you think Jim Cornette's stroke out moment during the James Gang beats it? Colin, what do you think?
Oh, no. I think, I'm going to stick with my loyalty to David Crockett because that was an all-timer. I think Cornette could maybe overtake the one he had, but I don't think David Crockett is ever going to beat the stroke out he had at the end of that match.
I agree. I got Cornette in a later award. Dr. G, I assume it's Crockett?
Yes.
All right. Schiff, Crockett?
Yeah.
All right. Arn Anderson Award for the best promo. I'm going with Cornette and the Kentucky Derby. Dr. G?
Same.
Column?
Yeah, same.
All right. Scott?
Yeah. Cornette was untouchable tonight.
All right. The Dusty Rhodes Broken Leg Award, the best angle this month, or continuing angle. For me, one I'll give the best match to, but for me, it's going to continue to be the Midnight Express versus America's Team. Dr. G?
I agree. Yep. That was a great, great. I don't know. I like the way they executed everything with that feud.
Yep. Column, I assume the same.
I was going to say the Midnight Express against the James Boys because I didn't see America's Team a lot this week.
Okay, sorry about that. Midnight Express versus James Boys. Okay. And Colin keeping kayfabe. And Scott, what about you?
We're forgetting Baby Doll as well because this actually started last episode. So this whole thing with them attacking Baby Doll.
Yes.
So I'm including all of that.
Okay. It is the best angle or continuing angle, so it's definitely this. Jimmy Valiant Award for the worst match. For me, it was definitely the World Class match. Colin?
I'm going to look back. Yeah, probably. I'm going to have a cursory look back here. Yes, it was. Yes.
All right, Dr. G?
Well, you know how I feel. That's an easy one.
All right. Schiff?
Yeah, Brody versus Rude was terrible.
Okay, and let's see. The Magnum match for best match, I think hands down, nothing will compare to Garvin versus Tully, and I assume that's across the board.
I'm going with Flair versus Morton.
Really? That's a shit take.
I gave 4.5 stars to Flair versus Morton.
Yeah, it's a shit take. Column.
I'll defend shit take Schiff on that one. It's not a bad match. I mean, I think it is a very, very good match. I don't blame him for picking it, albeit I have picked Garvin and Tully.
All right, Dr. G.
It was very close for me, but I'll go with Garvin and Tully as well. But I can't blame Schiff on that one. You can't knock him for that because the Morton match was great. I think the only reason why we didn't go higher was due to not having the announcing.
You know what? I'll be fair. You're right. The match is good with commentary. They both probably would have been about the same. So I don't blame you, Schiff. I apologize.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Thank you.
That doesn't happen often, so accept it.
I did.
Okay, all right. The Wahoo Award. The LVP this month. I'd have to look at my notes. Colin, go ahead.
The LVP.
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of freaking. The MVP is going to be hard, but the LVP, I'm going to have to go with Rick Rude.
No, I will go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Tommy Young, poor officiating.
Damn it. I'll go to Tommy Young too. That makes sense because of the ending of the costing us a 4.5 star banger for the Garvin match. And hey, one thing Tommy Young at least is consistent in how much he pisses us off at least. Dr. G.
It's funny, you guys shit on Tommy Young more than me, and I agree. I'm not a big fan, but the wrestlers at that time loved him. Like
I don't get it.
NWA guys, that was their favorite referee, which again is weird, but maybe they know something better than we don't. But I have to go with Bruiser Brody because Bruiser Brody just looked like he was just there for a paycheck and just didn't care. That's just my opinion. So
all right, very good. And then last but certainly not least, the MVP award. This one is super tough, but I'm gonna have to go with Jim Cornette. Scott.
Yeah. Jim Cornette, no landslide.
Okay. Column?
Yeah, same here.
All right. And Dr. G?
Agree.
All right. So there we go. So that closes out our May part 1. So really good stuff. Highlighted with some good matches, and to continue to highlight the Midnight Express Baby Doll and the James Gang or whoever's under the mask to keep Column's kayfabe. So before we go, Column, anything you would like to plug?
Yes, the only thing that is currently not on hiatus for me just now is the live stream services that we have. Twitch.tv/PlaceToBeNation. PlaceToBeNation, all one word, on YouTube. PlaceToBeNation, PTBN Live on Facebook, and at PTBN YouTube on Twitter.
Column's coming, the professional Twitcher. And so you don't have anything to announce about a pod you might be starting to be on for a little bit, or you want to save for that?
I'll save for that because I have not. I don't know when that's. I don't know when we're doing that next. I will try. Announcements are afoot by the time the next one comes around. Because I need to see about when we're actually going to record that.
Got it. Schiff, anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, check out Pop Goes to the Couch. We are going, by the time you hear this, we have wrapped up Obi-Wan, hitting up Miss Marvel, we're figuring out what to do with the boys, and we'll be doing a season look back at Stranger Things once Volume 2 drops. All
right. Thank you, sir. And finally, Dr. G, would you like to plug the Saturday special,
sure.
Disappointing, always ready paper? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Despite what Sean says, yes, we were a little disappointed with the outcome of Always Ready in the NWA Heavyweight Championship. I just think they did a reset there, so I think we'll see something happen soon. But the NWA, other than that, I think is heating up. I thought the pay-per-view Always Ready wasn't their best, but I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view, and it's setting some of the storylines up so you can listen to it every Saturday morning. There are times we do have to drop it on Sunday based on our schedules, but for the most part, Saturday mornings, NWA Saturday Special with myself and the Podfather himself, Scott Criscolo. And you could reach me on Twitter at Dr. G PTB.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at NWA Crock and Roll. Pod-wise, guys, this is my primary pod for right now because life is kind of taking it back. But I do have a Pod Blast series called Before I Was a Mark, where I go back and watch some older matches. And these are all matches that I've never seen before in my life before I started my wrestling fandom in 1986. So I'm kind of going back, and it's basically 3 matches every episode, about 15 to 16 to 20 minutes, where I just talk about those 3 matches, how I felt about them. It's a real easy one to do while I'm on the road traveling. So kind of a fun project just to keep me going. But for now, that's really it. I know I'm supposed to be on Pop Goes at Couch Shift. I don't think I've been on there for a while. So based on my time, this one is my primary one for sure for the immediate future. But it's always my favorite. It's always a lot of fun to do it. And next month, guys. So not next month, in 2 weeks, I should say rather. We have a couple of sneak peek here. We have another Flair Morton match. This one has commentary, Dr. G. So should be pretty good. We got a Midnight Express match. We got a tag team match, which I'm curious how one Colin McDougal will take because Wahoo's in it, but I think the other participants in it are pretty good. But yeah, so good stuff coming up. That time frame will cover May 10th through the first part of May 17th. So we will be back in 2 weeks for that episode. So for Scott Shiflett, Colin McDougal, and Dr. G, I am Sean Kidd. We will see you in 2 weeks for May 86 Part 2.